If you're over 65, this could be the most important message you hear all week. Stroke. It strikes without warning, often in the most terrifying way imaginable. 1 minute, you're fine, chatting with your family, having your morning coffee, and the next, you can't move your arm, your words sound jumbled, or your memory slips away as though someone just erased it. As a retired neurologist with over 40 years of experience treating older adults, I've seen it all: the shock, the devastation, the tears. But what I've learned, after decades of diagnosing and caring for stroke patients, is this: stroke doesn't just come out of nowhere. It doesn't strike randomly. It's a slow burn, a ticking time bomb, waiting to detonate. And what many people don't realize is that it can often be avoided. The risk of stroke builds silently, over time, through the small, seemingly innocent habits we don't even think twice about. Habits we repeat every single morning. I know that sounds dramatic, but I've witnessed it too many times in my practice. In my early years, I believed stroke was something you couldn't predict, that it just happened. But as time went on, I began to see a pattern. So many of my patients, bright, sharp, independent men and women, were unknowingly increasing their stroke risk, day by day, through the simplest, most routine habits. And by the time it caught up with them, it was too late. A stroke is rarely just about bad luck. It's about our morning habits, the ones we think are harmless. Imagine this. You're waking up, feeling a little dizzy. Your legs are a bit unsteady. You think, I'm just getting older. You shrug it off, thinking it'll pass. But what if I told you that this seemingly innocent dizziness could be the first warning sign of something far more dangerous, the mini stroke, a transient ischemic attack TIA? Most people don't know that a TIA is like a fire alarm going off in your brain, a sign that something is wrong. It might pass quickly, but the danger isn't gone, it's just getting started. What if I also told you that skipping your medication, even just for one day, could trigger a stroke? That morning cup of coffee you rely on could be silently raising your blood pressure to dangerous levels, putting you at risk without you even realizing it. What about holding in your urine because you're busy? That too could be silently wreaking havoc on your body, raising your stress hormones, and triggering a stroke. These aren't just small inconveniences. These are the things that, over time, add up and cause irreversible damage. And by the time you realize it, your life may never be the same again. I'm not here to scare you, I'm here to help you. After 40 years of practice, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I want to share with you what I've learned so you can protect yourself and the ones you love. The truth is, the risk of stroke isn't random, and it doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually, and it starts with the simple things you do or don't do every morning. I want to teach you the warning signs, the small habits that increase your risk, and, most importantly, how to stop them in their tracks. What you do tomorrow morning could make all the difference. By changing just a few things in your morning routine, you could drastically reduce your risk of stroke and protect your health for years to come. And it starts now. Before we dive into these changes, I ask you to do me one favor. If this video resonates with you and you want to learn more about how to live a long, healthy, and independent life, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. It will not only support this channel, but it will also give you the knowledge and tools you need to protect yourself and your family. It means a lot to me, and it will keep me motivated to bring you more valuable, life-saving information. Now, I want to leave you with a question to reflect on. It's something I want you to think about as you continue watching this video. I want you to comment your answer below. Here it is. Question: which do you think is more dangerous in the long run? Ignoring small symptoms, like dizziness or weakness in the morning. Be taking your medications inconsistently, even if you feel fine. Please, take a moment to think about it. Which one do you believe could be more damaging in the long run? Type your answer in the comments below, as it will be your feedback will help me understand what's on your mind, and I'd love to see your thoughts on this important issue. As I sit here, now retired, with the calm and quiet of my own home, I can't help but reflect on my many years as a neurologist. I spent decades working with older adults, helping them navigate the complexities of aging and brain health. But if there's one thing I learned through all those years of experience, it's this: how you start your day can make all the difference. It's in those first few hours, when you wake up, that your body and brain are most vulnerable. And what you do or fail to do during those precious moments sets the tone for the rest of your day, and even the rest of your life. The thing is, most people don't even realize it. We all wake up in the morning, groggy, still rubbing the sleep out of our eyes, and we rush through the motions. We wake up, check our phones, maybe have a cup of coffee, and then start the day. But what you don't see in those first few minutes, the things you don't think about, is how your body is waking up after hours of rest. Your blood pressure is rising, your heart rate is beginning to pick up, and your brain is slowly transitioning from sleep mode to fully alert. It's a delicate balance, and any small misstep in those first hours can have a long-lasting impact on your health. You see, when you're older, your body doesn't work quite the same way. The blood vessels are more rigid, the heart isn't as efficient at adjusting to sudden changes, and the brain, while still powerful, doesn't quite recover as quickly as it once did. So, when you wake up in the morning, it's like your body is waking up from a deep sleep, but the systems that should help you transition, your circulatory system, your nervous system, aren't quite as quick to catch up. It's in these moments that things can go wrong. Your blood pressure can spike, your blood flow can be disrupted, and the brain, with its fragile network of vessels and neurons, can be under stress before you even realize it. As a doctor, I have seen how this morning vulnerability manifests in the people I've treated over the years. There's a reason why strokes tend to occur early in the morning, during those hours when the body is still waking up. That's when your brain is most vulnerable to the pressures of the world. Small habits that most of us think are harmless can quietly add stress to an already fragile system. Things like skipping your medication, drinking coffee on an empty stomach, ignoring morning dizziness, or even holding in your urine can increase the risk of a stroke. And because these habits don't always show immediate effects, it's easy to ignore them. Your brain isn't just waking up along with you. It's transitioning from a state of rest to one of full activity, and it's a process that needs support. But many of us don't give our brains the support they need. We rush out of bed, we skip breakfast, we down a cup of coffee before we've even had a sip of water, and we neglect our medications. We assume that we can power through the morning just like we did when we were younger. But the truth is, our bodies have changed, and our brains have changed with them. I spent many years treating patients who didn't understand this delicate balance. They didn't realize that what they were doing or not doing was silently putting them at risk. When I look back on my career, I remember so many cases where a stroke could have been avoided simply by changing a few habits. It was never about big dramatic changes, it was always the small, subtle habits that caused the most damage over time. It's the habit of skipping medications or waiting too long to go to the bathroom in the morning. It's the habit of ignoring dizziness or pushing through the day without taking the time to hydrate. All of these things, over time, can build up and put immense strain on the body, especially the brain. And let me tell you something, the brain, despite all its complexity, is fragile. It's constantly working, constantly processing, constantly making decisions about how to manage the body, but the brain can only do so much. If you don't give it the support it needs, if you don't take the time to treat your body and brain with care, you're asking for trouble. I saw this firsthand in so many of my patients. They didn't take the time to listen to their bodies, and they suffered the consequences. I don't want that for you. I don't want you to go through what so many others have gone through because of simple, avoidable habits. That's why morning habits matter so much. They are the foundation of the rest of your day. They set the stage for your health and well-being. When you wake up in the morning, your body needs support. It needs to adjust to the day ahead. And when you take the time to listen to it, when you slow down, hydrate, take your medications, and don't rush, you give your brain and body the chance to transition smoothly. You reduce the risk of stroke, and you increase your chances of living a longer, healthier life. But here's the thing, this isn't about being perfect. It's about consistency, it's about making small changes that add up over time. And I'm not asking you to do anything radical. I'm simply asking you to pay attention to the small things that can make a big difference. Your brain is your most valuable asset, and it deserves your attention, your care, and your respect. Don't let these small habits go unnoticed. They could be the difference between a healthy life and one cut short. I can tell you, from years of experience, that these habits are the things that matter. The things you do or don't do during those first moments of your day can either protect your brain or put it at risk. So, take a moment to think about how you start your day. Are you giving your body and brain the support they need? If not, now is the time to start. It's never too late to make small changes that can have a huge impact on your health. And remember, your brain is the foundation of everything. Take care of it, and it will take care of you. As a retired neurologist, I've spent countless years treating patients, many of whom suffered from strokes. And as I look back on my career, there's one thing I can say with certainty. It's not just the big things that lead to a stroke. It's the small, almost imperceptible habits that we repeat day after day, without even thinking about them. The simple things we think are harmless, the habits we don't even recognize as being dangerous. The first few hours after waking up are the most critical. This is when your body and brain are the most vulnerable, and the decisions you make in those first moments can have a profound impact on your health. I've seen too many patients ignore minor symptoms in the morning, thinking they're nothing to worry about, only to end up suffering from a stroke soon after. In my practice, I witnessed firsthand how easily these small habits can silently increase the risk of stroke. The first dangerous habit I want to talk about is one I saw far too often in my patients, ignoring morning dizziness or weakness. It starts off so innocuously, just a slight feeling of unsteadiness when you wake up, or maybe you notice that your arm feels a bit weaker than usual. Perhaps your speech isn't as clear as it should be, or you feel a bit of numbness in your face. Most people brush it off, thinking it's nothing. It's just part of getting older, they say. But that nothing could be the first warning sign of a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, often referred to as a mini stroke. And let me tell you, a TIA is not something to ignore. It's like your brain is sending you an urgent signal, a red flag that something is wrong. It may pass quickly, but the danger hasn't gone away. In fact, 1 in 3 people who experience a TIA will suffer a full-blown stroke within a year, with many of those strokes occurring within just 48 hours. I can recall the case of Mr. Harold, a retired firefighter in his early 80s. He was strong, independent, and had been living a healthy life for most of his years. One morning, he felt off, his left hand was weaker than usual, and his face felt strange, but he shrugged it off, thinking it was just arthritis or maybe a bad night's sleep. He didn't tell anyone, he didn't call me, he didn't take it seriously. And 2 days later, he suffered a massive stroke that paralyzed his left side and left him unable to speak clearly. His life, which had once been full of fishing trips with his grandson, was now limited to a life in an assisted care facility. That could have been avoided had he simply listened to his body and taken that moment to address the symptoms, rather than dismissing them. The second dangerous morning habit that I've seen repeatedly in my practice is skipping or mismanaging medications. This one is insidious because it often happens unintentionally. Many of my older patients took medications for high blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood thinners. But as time passed, they'd forget to take their medications, thinking it wouldn't matter. Sometimes they'd miss a dose and try to make up for it by taking 2 pills the next morning. But let me tell you, this can be disastrous. I had a patient, Mrs. Evelyn, a sharp 76-year-old retired nurse who had managed her high blood pressure for years with medication. One morning, she forgot to take her blood pressure pill, and to catch up, she took to the next day. By the time she realized something was wrong, she had suffered a hemorrhagic stroke. Her brain began to bleed, triggered by the sudden spike in her blood pressure. She survived, but the consequences were severe. She lost her ability to speak for nearly 6 months. It's vital to understand that when you miss your medication, especially blood pressure or anticoagulant medication, it leaves your body unprotected during the most vulnerable time of the day. Your blood pressure naturally rises as your body prepares to wake up, and without the protection of your medication, your brain is left at the mercy of those spikes. The consequences of skipping medication, or taking it incorrectly, are not just minor side effects. They could be life-altering. The third morning habit I want to highlight is drinking coffee on an empty stomach. Now, I know many of you might be thinking, but coffee is my wake-up call. It's the thing that gets me going. But here's the truth. When you drink coffee on an empty stomach, especially before eating anything or hydrating, you're putting unnecessary stress on your body and your brain. Caffeine is a powerful stimulant. It raises your heart rate, tightens your blood vessels, and spikes your blood pressure. For someone whose arteries are already stiff from aging, this sudden surge can trigger irregular heartbeats or even lead to a mini-stroke or full-blown stroke. I remember Mr. Charles, a 77-year-old Korean War veteran from Arizona, who prided himself on sticking to his daily routine. Every morning, he would have large cups of coffee before eating anything. One day, after his usual routine, he suddenly felt his heart racing, and within minutes, he collapsed. He had suffered a TIA, the culprit, that first cup of coffee, consumed on an empty stomach. The caffeine hit his body too hard, causing a spike in blood pressure and an irregular heartbeat. It wasn't just the coffee, it was the timing. If he had eaten a small meal or at least hydrated before drinking his coffee, the outcome might have been different. The fourth dangerous morning habit is holding in your morning urine. This one seems so trivial, but it can be far more dangerous than you think. I've had so many patients who would delay going to the bathroom in the morning because they were busy, maybe checking their emails or scrolling through the news on their phones. But here's the thing. Holding in urine increases your stress hormones cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones constrict your blood vessels and raise your blood pressure. For someone over 65, especially if they have underlying heart issues or hypertension, this can be catastrophic. I had a patient, Mrs. Darlene, a 79-year-old widow from Indiana, who had this habit. One morning, after delaying going to the bathroom for too long and drinking a second cup of coffee, she collapsed in her kitchen. She had suffered a hypertensive crisis, which led to a small stroke. All of this happened because she ignored her body's signals. Your body knows when it's time to go to the bathroom. Don't ignore it. Delaying it could raise your blood pressure to dangerous levels and put unnecessary strain on your heart. Finally, the fifth dangerous habit is jumping out of bed too quickly. This is something that seems so automatic to most people. We wake up, swing our legs over the side of the bed, and stand up. But for older adults, this can be a recipe for disaster. After a night of sleep, your body is in a relaxed state. Your blood pressure is lower and your circulation is slower. When you stand up too quickly, gravity pulls the blood away from your brain, and the body isn't always fast enough to adjust. The result can be dizziness, fainting, or even a stroke. I remember Mr. Ray, a 74-year-old farmer from Iowa who was always up before sunrise. One morning, he jumped out of bed, took a few steps, and collapsed. His wife found him on the floor, unable to speak. He had suffered an ischemic stroke, likely triggered by the sudden drop in blood flow to his brain. If he had taken just a few moments to sit up slowly, let his body adjust, and then stood up gradually, he might have avoided this devastating event. These habits may seem small, but they can add up over time. And they put your brain and body at risk, often without you even realizing it. The morning hours are when your brain is the most vulnerable, and what you do in those first moments can determine the course of your day and your life. If you change just one of these habits, you can significantly reduce your risk of stroke. It's never too late to start making these small changes. They could save your life. In all my years as a neurologist, I've come to a simple yet profound realization. The difference between a long, healthy life and one that is shortened by preventable conditions is often found in the small, everyday choices we make. It's easy to think that the big changes are the ones that matter most: changing diets, starting an intense workout regimen, or even taking on a major lifestyle overhaul. But the truth, as I've learned through decades of treating patients, is that it's the small, consistent actions that matter most. These seemingly insignificant moments, repeated over time, have the power to shape our health, for better or for worse. I'll never forget the numerous patients I've seen over the years, many of whom came into my office with serious conditions that could have been avoided or mitigated had they made slight changes to their daily routines. The worst part, however, was not just the conditions themselves, but the realization that these changes could have been made easily. What was even more frustrating was how these changes were so small and yet so powerful. For example, Something as simple as getting up a bit more slowly in the morning could make a world of difference. I've had patients who, in their haste to start the day, would jump out of bed too quickly, only to faint or experience a dangerous drop in blood pressure. A patient would come in, complaining of dizziness and fatigue, but when I asked about their morning routine, it was clear that they were rushing through those first moments after waking up. The solution: take a moment, pause, and allow your body to catch up with your mind. That's it. That small change, that simple act of slowing down, could save lives. But no one ever thinks it's necessary until something goes wrong. Then there's the issue of medication. I've lost count of the number of patients who skipped a dose here and there, thinking it was harmless. Some would even double their dose the next day, thinking they could make up for it. Unfortunately, this habit often led to strokes or worse. It wasn't the missed doses alone that caused the issue. It was the consistency or lack thereof that ultimately put their health at risk. Taking medication on time, every single day, is a small action, yet it has enormous consequences. It's so easy to ignore, especially when you feel fine, but that small oversight can cost you your life. I've seen it firsthand. The simplest thing, taking your pills regularly, can mean the difference between living independently for years or losing that independence in a flash. This brings me to the point I want to make about these small changes. They matter more than we realize, especially as we age. Your body, particularly your brain, doesn't bounce back as easily as it did when you were younger. It's no longer the same resilient system it once was, and that's why small actions can have a monumental impact on your long-term health. The habits that seem trivial today are the ones that can slowly wear down your body, often without you even realizing it. The key, however, is that they are within your control. You are not powerless to prevent a decline in health. You can change these habits, and with each small step, you are moving closer to a healthier, more vibrant future. I've had patients who, after years of struggling with high blood pressure, started taking their medication more consistently. They would feel better almost immediately, but it wasn't just the medication that improved their condition. It was the simple change of committing to a daily routine that they could stick to. It's easy to think that making grand changes is the way to achieve health, but more often than not, it's the small habits that matter most. And you can start today. You don't need a major transformation, just a series of small, intentional decisions that, over time, add up to a healthier and longer life. The impact of small changes goes beyond just physical health. It affects your mental well-being as well. When you start taking small actions, whether it's slowing down in the morning or taking your medications as prescribed, you begin to regain control over your health. You start to feel empowered. You no longer feel like a victim of circumstance, but an active participant in your own well-being. That sense of control is incredibly powerful, especially as we age. It can reduce anxiety, improve mood, and even enhance your cognitive function. The brain thrives on consistency, and when you take consistent, small steps to care for it, you protect not only your body but your mind as well. And perhaps one of the most important things I've learned is that the small changes we make today lay the foundation for our future. It's easy to think that we can put off making changes until tomorrow, or next week, or next month. But the reality is that the choices you make today will determine how well you age tomorrow. If you consistently neglect small habits like drinking enough water, eating a balanced breakfast, or getting up slowly in the morning, those habits will compound over time, and eventually, they will catch up to you. But if you make small, intentional changes today, you'll reap the rewards in the years to come. It's a slow, steady process, but one that can significantly improve your quality of life. I've seen it countless times. A patient who struggled with balance issues, who was constantly fatigued, who could barely remember to take their medication, started making small changes to their daily routine. This is why small changes matter. They are the building blocks of a healthier future, and they are within your reach. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You just need to start with one small change. Make it a part of your routine, and then build on it. Before long, you'll realize that those little adjustments have transformed your health in ways you never thought possible. I often say to my patients, don't underestimate the power of small things. It's easy to think that the big, dramatic changes are the ones that make a difference. But it's the small, consistent actions that protect your health. Start with one small change today. It could be the most important decision you ever make. As a retired neurologist, I can tell you with certainty that the most important thing you can do for your future health is to take responsibility for your brain today. It may seem like a small thing, making small changes, but I have witnessed firsthand how powerful these decisions can be. The truth is, most people don't think about their brain health until something goes wrong, until the stroke happens, until the memory fades, but by then, it is often too late. I've watched patients lose their independence, their memories, and their ability to live the life they once knew. And the saddest part is that, in many cases, those things could have been prevented. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of working with countless patients, many of whom came to me after a stroke or some other neurological event. When I sat with them, and later their families, I would often hear the same regrets. "I wish I had taken better care of myself," they would say. "I wish I had made those small changes," and they weren't wrong. It's not the major life events, the ones that you think are life-altering, that end up making the most significant difference in your health. It's the little things, the decisions you make every day, often without even thinking about them, that matter the most. This is why I'm asking you to take action now, right now. You don't have to wait for a stroke to wake you up. You don't have to wait until you can no longer remember the names of your loved ones or lose your ability to care for yourself. You can start protecting your brain today by making small but powerful changes to your routine. It could be something as simple as taking your medication on time every day, hydrating properly in the morning, or simply slowing down when you get out of bed. These may seem like insignificant changes, but I promise you they matter. They matter more than you can imagine. You see, the brain is not something you can take for granted. It is the organ that controls every aspect of your life, your movement, your memory, your emotions, your ability to think clearly and make decisions. Yet, it is also incredibly fragile, and, as we age, it becomes even more vulnerable. The blood vessels become stiffer, the connections between neurons weaken, and the body's ability to repair itself slows down. This means that your brain, more than any other organ in your body, needs extra care and attention, especially as you get older. The good news is, you are in control. You have the power to protect your brain and your future. I've spent my career helping patients understand that they don't have to accept the decline that many associate with aging. You don't have to wait for a neurological event to change your life. The future of your brain, the future of your independence, is in your hands. But you need to start making the right choices now. If you make the right choices today, you will be protecting your brain for the years to come. You will be laying the foundation for a life full of independence, clarity, and vitality. But here's the truth, these changes won't happen by themselves. You have to be intentional, you have to take responsibility for your health. You have to commit to making small changes every day, no matter how insignificant they may seem. I know it's easy to put things off. I know it's easy to think, "I'll do it tomorrow," but time is precious, and as we age, it passes faster than we realize. Every day you delay is a day your brain is at risk. The longer you wait to make those changes, the harder it will be to turn things around. So, I ask you now, I urge you to start today. Right now, take control of your brain health. Take the first step toward a healthier, longer future. I often tell my patients that taking care of your brain is the most important thing you can do for your future. It's not about having a perfect diet or exercising for hours every day. It's about consistency. It's about being mindful of the small choices you make every single day. Hydrate in the morning. Don't skip your medication. Don't ignore the signs your body is giving you. These simple actions, if done consistently, can add years to your life. They can keep you independent, sharp, and healthy. I want to be clear. This is not a task for the future. It's not something you should wait to do. The best time to take action is now. It's easy to dismiss the importance of small changes, to think that they don't matter. But I can tell you, with all the wisdom of my years in practice, that these small actions are the difference between a healthy brain and one that deteriorates too quickly. They are the difference between maintaining your independence and relying on others for care. They are the difference between living fully and living in fear of what the future holds. When I look back at my career, I'm proud of the patients I've helped. But I am most proud of the ones who listened to the small changes I recommended. They are the ones who thrived. They are the ones who lived independently, with sharp minds and clear memories, well into their later years. They didn't wait for a stroke to change their lives. They didn't wait for a warning sign. They took control of their health, and in doing so, they shaped their future. And you can do the same. You have that power. You are the one in control. The changes you make today will impact your health for years to come. The habits you build today will protect your brain tomorrow. Don't wait any longer. Start now. Take responsibility for your health. Protect your brain, protect your future, because, at the end of the day, your health is the most precious gift you have, and it is up to you to protect it. I've spent my career learning how small actions can have an enormous impact on brain health. I've seen patients who made those changes and thrived, and I've seen others who wished they had acted sooner. Don't let this be your regret. Don't wait until it's too late. Start today and give your brain the care it deserves. As we conclude this journey into understanding the importance of small changes and habits, I want to reflect on something that has been a guiding principle throughout my years as a neurologist: the power of consistency. So many of us live our lives with the belief that only the big changes, those radical shifts in behavior or lifestyle, matter. We set grand resolutions or make lofty goals, only to fall short because the magnitude of change seems too overwhelming. But, in truth, it's the small, consistent actions that compound over time and create the most significant impact on our health, our future, and our well-being. I have seen this pattern time and time again in my patients. They would come to me with various conditions: high blood pressure, cognitive decline, and, in many cases, the aftermath of a stroke, and they would express regret. Regret for not taking their health seriously earlier, for neglecting the small habits that, if changed, could have spared them so much hardship. But here's the thing: it's never too late to make a change. In fact, the most powerful change you can make is often the smallest one. Taking your medication consistently, drinking enough water in the morning, making time for a light stretch or walk, and even taking a moment to breathe and slow down before rushing into your day. These are the types of changes that, over time, can build a solid foundation for your future health. And here's what's truly remarkable: these actions require no great effort, no dramatic sacrifices. They just require you to be mindful, to pay attention to the small things that matter most. The reality is that the things we neglect, the simple, everyday habits, are often the ones that undermine our long-term health. We get caught up in the busyness of life and dismiss the importance of taking care of ourselves in the smallest of ways. But the accumulation of these small neglects can eventually manifest in ways we can't ignore, in the form of high blood pressure, stroke, memory loss, or even complete loss of independence. These conditions don't just happen overnight. They build over time, quietly, slowly, until they can no longer be ignored. But they can also be prevented with just a little bit of mindfulness. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned over the years is that our future health is not determined by a single moment of brilliance, but by the countless small decisions we make every day. The patient who drinks water first thing in the morning, the one who prioritizes medication adherence, or the one who doesn't rush out of bed, all these actions have a lasting impact. They might not seem significant in the moment, but they add up, day after day, year after year. This is the lesson I want to leave you with. It's not about making grand, sweeping changes. It's about consistency. It's about making small, smart choices every day and understanding that these decisions, however small, compound to create a healthier, longer life. If you can start making these changes now, no matter how small, you'll be laying the foundation for a better future, one where your brain remains sharp, your body remains strong, and your independence remains intact. So how do you apply this to your life right now? It's simple. Start small. Start by drinking a glass of water in the morning before your coffee. Start by taking your medication on time, every day. Start by being mindful of how you wake up and give your body time to adjust before you jump into the rush of your day. These are small, achievable changes that can be made starting today, and they will pay off in the long run. If you want to protect your future, start by protecting today. And now, I would love to hear your thoughts. What small change are you willing to start with today? Is it about taking your medication on time, hydrating more, or perhaps taking a moment to breathe before the rush of the day begins? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what steps you plan to take to improve your health. Let's start a conversation and learn from each other's experiences. Before you go, I'd like to kindly ask you to consider supporting the channel. As you may know, I'm no longer in my prime, but I'm still passionate about sharing what I've learned over the years with the world. If you find this content helpful, please take a moment to subscribe, and if you can, donate no matter how small to help keep this channel alive. Your support helps me continue creating valuable content that can make a difference in people's lives. Tea would mean the world to me, and it's a great way to show your appreciation for the knowledge shared here. I understand that life is busy, and money can be tight, but even a small donation will keep the channel running and motivate me to continue making these videos for you. Together, we can create a community that values health, longevity, and the small changes that can make all the difference. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below.